Okay guys, well good afternoon. It's just coming up to 2 p.m. here in the UK and today is the 11th of February 2022. So I will start by looking at the market screener here, the heat map screener. You can see like the great majority of crypto is still in the green, which is not too bad for the day considering what happened yesterday. Obviously we had that FOMC meeting and the CPI, sorry, it was not an FOMC, I think it was the CPI meeting, and the print was a little bit higher than anticipated, and the markets reflected that, and as a result you can see here on the stock heat map that everything is down, and if you're doing shit at trading Bitcoin, then you're fucked because McDonald's is not taking people either. Look at that, that's down 1% on the day as well. So even McDonald's is fucked. The only people that are doing well is Disney because it's a Mickey Mouse market, that's why. So Disney are doing well. Anyway, without all the with all the joking aside, I just wanted to show you here the the Bitstamp chart, the weekly Bitstamp chart, because I haven't shown this for quite some time. And for those of you that are new here, I just wanted to highlight something that I highlighted a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. But just to keep this in mind, okay? This is not like a forecast. This is not me saying that this is definitely going to happen. This is just an observation. So this is the oldest Bitcoin chart in existence, to my understanding, as far as I know. It goes all the way back to 2012, okay? And these are two moving averages. And these two moving averages on the weekly here as well, this is basically the 50 and the 200. And every time Bitcoin has lost the 50, it's come and tested the 200. We rallied, we've lost the 50, we come and test the 200. There again in 2020, on that March dump, the COVID dump if you like, we lost the 50, we came and tested the 200. We even rallied below. If you can see that, there's a nice big wick there. It was just cascading liquidations. It was unexpected. It was a huge thing in the whole, in all the markets, even in the traditional markets as well. So, but we tested it. And a couple of weeks ago here on, just before the end of the year, the end of 2021, we've lost that 50 exponential or 50 moving average, sorry, the 50-day moving average, 50 week, sorry, I'll try and get that right. So we've lost the 50-week moving average, we've come down, we're kind of like trying to retest that, but we're not completely out of the water, we're not above it, okay? You can see here, for example, where was it? Where we lost it back in 2015, we came back to retest it, and we got rejected there, and we came and tested at 200, right? So that was two tests at 200. So I'm not saying that this is definitely going to happen, okay? The macro thing has changed a little bit, although there is quite a lot of uncertainty in the market. But I just wanted to draw your attention to that. We're not completely out of the woods yet. So I just wanted to put this in perspective, especially with the climate and the sentiment that we've got in the market right now, okay? If this is the beginning of a bear market, even in the traditional finance world, I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin come all the way down here to $20,000 and test the previous high, okay? It just so happens that the previous high lines up perfectly with that 200. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that. So that's the worst case scenario, I guess, for now. Let's go to a Bitcoin chart here on Coinbase. Let's have a look at the daily. And just again, I tend to do these volume profiles, and this is a volume profile back from the 1st of January 2021. And this basically what it does, it gives me these areas of balance, if you like, the high volume clusters that I'm interested in trading in, okay? So as a result of that, what I usually do is I put some balance areas here as rectangles, if you like, and this is basically what gives me sort of confluence to these levels, etc. Okay, so you can see that basically these high volume clusters, they line up perfectly with the edges of these these rectangles line up perfectly with the edges of these high volume clusters. Okay, that's why I've got them there. So I'm going to take this off a minute. I might even put the VPVR for a second, just so that it makes a little bit more sense. So you can see that we've tested the balance high. Okay, we've tested this middle distribution, if you like, which is this middle distribution here. It just so happens to be also the yearly open and the yearly close of the 2021 VWAP. Okay, that's where it shut. It closed there. Okay, so it's not the yearly open, it's actually the 2021 VWAP, so it's the open of value, if you like. And the price tried to, you know, it tagged it a couple of times and it tried to get above it, but it just couldn't. It formed a little deviation, just like I said to you guys on Wednesday, or perhaps it was Monday, that I said the most likely case scenario is this is the first tap, is that we put a little deviation, cause an SFP, a swing failure pattern, if you like, trap everybody at the top, and then just go down. If we look at this on the, perhaps on the hour chart, will be a little bit more visible. You can see here, I think this was yesterday, big drop here with the CPI meeting. Okay, so there was a little bit of panic in the markets. This happened everywhere. I'm going to look. I'll show you the Nasdaq and the S&P did exactly the same thing, and then we kind of rallied there. We found support. We rallied. We came back and we tested that 2021 VWAP finally, and the edge of this balance area. Okay, so this is that rectangle that we were looking at. Okay, so the big balance area here. We tested that, and when we came much lower. Okay, and then of course once we tested that, there was a deviation. That's a swing failure pattern, and the price just slowly but surely came all the way down. I was expecting a more violent move, to be honest, to test these levels down here, but we didn't. We just did a slow sort of move down to the downside, and we kind of seem to have formed a little bit of a range. I'll get more on that in just a second. I just wanted to show you again, because of the Nasdaq, because of this meeting, what was it? I think it was, yeah, I mean, we had a severe drop here as a result of that print. Okay, and then we rallied back up. We found resistance on this low volume node, and then it came back, and now we're just ranging. Okay, it's the same with the S&P. This is on the daily. On the 1 hour chart, you can see here perfectly. So I might have misrepresented that on the Nasdaq, but you can see here a nice big move to the downside, rally up, tested the highs, and then just kind of slow bleeding to the downside. Okay, and just found a little bit of a range here. So it's no different than what Bitcoin's doing here right now. Okay, so my projections for Bitcoin right now, because that's why you're here, and this is why it matters, right? Right now we're kind of like, again, we're in an imbalance area. Okay, so we didn't find acceptance. We got rejected of the balance above, and we are above the previous balance. So we're kind of in an imbalance area, but you can see here from the VPVR that we've created a little area of balance inside of this. So this to me tells me that we're just going to range here. If we look at the smaller time frames, I'm going to take the VPVR off for just a second. It's a very clear range here. Okay, so I think I've already got the range here. So, but I'm going to delete it, and I can just do it for you anyway. Parallel channel. There we go. I'm going to put the magnet on, and then quite simply go from this high to this low. Okay, so there was an impulse, we ranged, impulsed, impulse again, and then we created an impulse, couldn't get above it, and we range. Okay, so that's essentially what's going on here. That's you know, it's as simple as that. That was the top, that was the bottom. We came here, we swept the top, and we had a little deviation, swing failure pattern, whatever you want to call it. Came back down with deviation from the downside as well. As you can see, we swept the lows there. It's a little bit lower than this one, and now we're kind of on the way up. This is the 50% mark here, the equilibrium, if you like, the 0.5. For me, it's a no trade zone in this area, but quite simply, I do think, and for reasons that I'll show you in the market profile in a minute, I think we just range now. We're just going to range. Obviously, this is just a 1 hour chart, and I just wanted to illustrate that because it's a very clear range. Okay, so you could be making money here by literally just when it gets to these highs, if it's in a range, you should be selling. When it's at these lows, and you should be buying. Okay, and this will work until it doesn't. Of course, the equilibrium here can cause friction, like it did here. Okay, could not get above it, could not get above it. Then we got above it, and then we got below it again. Okay, but here we got rejected from it. So this can cause disruption here. But again, I'm not interested in trades in the middle. I'm interested in trades at either side of this balance area. Okay, so we're probably going to form a balance here. That's what I expect, especially over the weekend. All right. The other thing I wanted to show you. So this is like sort of on a shorter time frame. The other thing I wanted to show you is that obviously we've got another balance area here. We've got a little bit of a range here, if you like. Okay, so of course, if this fails to get above here, this 50% mark, and then comes all the way down here, then we can safely assume that this range here is now in play. Okay, so just changing it from the 1 hour to the 4 hour makes it a little bit clearer. You see, that was the lows, that was the highs. We deviated from the lows and we swept those lows there. In fact, this could be a little bit more accurate like this. Okay, we deviated low, we went high, we deviated from the high, we came lower, and we broke down from it. Okay, so I know that this is a little bit more like to do with more advanced and to do with more with price action and on the shorter time frames, but I think some people have been telling me that it's quite difficult to trade even though you've got the information on the macro, like I give you the 4 hour charts and the daily charts, but I'm just giving you examples. So you've got trending and then you've got ranging, and of course the market does an impulse and then it just kind of ranges. Same here, impulse, range, impulse, kind of a range, impulse and impulse again, and now we're ranging. Okay, so it depends really what we're going to do now, if we're going to go to the upside or to the downside. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, we've already tested the highs here and we got a very clear rejection. We've tested this VWAP here, the 2021 VWAP, 2 or 3 times now, and every time we've got a bad rejection. So this is a big rejection here. This was a big rejection, even though it's not very visible on the 4 hour candle. You could probably see it here. It's not even visible on the 1 hour either. But we tested it, got pushed back down, we closed above here, tested it again, and we come all the way to the other side of the range. That's a very clear rejection. Of course, the more we tap it, the weaker it becomes. But for now, that's a rejection and a deviation. So I expect lower prices. There's confluence in this. I've already mentioned it on Wednesday when I did the other TA update as to why I'm looking at this level down here, around about $41,000, $40,000. If we look at the balance areas, you can see that this is the edge of the lower balance area. We haven't tested that just yet. Okay. Also, we've got a weekly pivot just in that area there. Additionally, we've also got the developing yearly VWAP. Okay, so this is anchored to the 1st of January 2022, and you see the price respected it here, and we broke above it, but we haven't retested it yet. Okay, so it's yet another bit of confluence, and for me, these high probability trades are taken on confluence. They don't always play out, but most of the time they do. So again, I'm looking at this level down here as a pullback, as confirmation that we are indeed going to get rejected from this lower balance down here. If we get rejected down here, then I'll be looking to go long, and I'll be taking profits perhaps here on the edge of this 2021 VWAP, but really looking at this target up here. Okay, so I'll be looking for something like this, price to come all the way down here, perhaps form a bottom, do a little deviation to the downside, trap a few shorts and a few bears, squeeze them to the upside, and then just start testing this here. Okay, then of course here I'll be taking profit, and then I'll be looking for this to do like this sort of thing, where it breaks inside, confirms this, and now the low volume area below becomes resistance or support even, and then I'm looking for the price to come and test this next value area. Okay, this next volume area. Sorry, I didn't get the words quite right there, but I think you know what I mean. So really waiting for confirmation that we're going up to here. What needs to happen is that the price needs to break inside of this balance area and then come back below to confirm that the previous resistance is indeed now support. This would be the entry for my long, and I'll be looking, perhaps not as high as that, but I'll be looking at around about 53k for the next level of resistance. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing on the lower time frames. Sorry, for the trading plan, if you like, is I'm targeting these levels down here. Okay, there's too much going on there. There's the yearly VWAP, there's a weekly pivot, and these have got very good striking rates. It's also the edge of the previous balance. So there's just a lot of confluence there, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see that happen. So you know, that's what I'm looking for. I'm not really keen on entering long swing trades at the highs here. I'd much rather wait for a pullback and just see what happens. Of course, there is a possibility that we don't get a pullback at all. Okay, so if the price starts rallying again and we start hovering at this resistance, it's very likely that we break it to the upside. And if we do, again, the same applies. We break in, confirm this as support, and off we go to the races. Okay, it might not even come all the way down. It might just go up to here. Okay, so the previous resistance. All right, so it might just contest here and then rally up. Okay, so this would be the entry for a long for me. All right, so the entry for a short is perhaps another tap at the range highs and a rejection. That for me is yet more confirmation that we're going down to this to the downside. But like I said already, on the 4-hour and on the 1-hour chart here, we've got a range formed right now. Okay, so we've got the lows here, we've got the highs here, and that's really all you need to know. So you know, you've got equal lows here. These got taken on this candle, and then we had some equal lows here, which I also outlined on Wednesday on the TA, and we've taken that. Okay, so let me just clean that up a little bit. Again, equal lows that got taken here, equal lows that got taken here. Okay, I know that there's a big point of control at this level down here, so I'll look at market profile now and just use it as confluence as to where we are and to why I think that we might go down here. So there's also another little bit of confluence. Just bear with me before I show you Exocharts. This is Deribit, and this is for the options contracts. Now, the options contracts are expiring on the 25th of February, which is the last Friday of the month. And usually halfway through the month, we start seeing the price sort of gravitating towards max pain. Max pain is essentially basically just where most of the contracts will expire worthless. Okay, max pain is at $40,000. Okay, just so happens to be the same level that we've got down here. All right, $40,000. So yet more confluence. All right, so and there's nearly 1.5 billion in notional value for February already. So I really wouldn't be surprised to see the price gravitate towards that 40k level. Okay, for now, for the weekend, I do think that we're just going to be ranging like this, and I'll explain to why in a minute. But I do think that we're due a visit down here. I'm hoping for a visit down here in order for this to be a constructive price action. Okay, if it did so, it would be very healthy, as you can imagine. A visit down here, a lot of these people that were long, these stops will be taken for starters, so the late longs will be punished, and then even a fake out to the downside. A lot of these people would be thinking, okay, we're going to go much lower now, and I just think that it would be I don't know, it just adds up. Okay, and it's also in terms of market structure, we've just printed, this was a previous high, we've just printed a higher high, right? So higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. If we come all the way down here, in context, this would still be a higher low. Okay, so perhaps on the daily is a little bit more visible, but I think you know what I mean. Let me just go on the daily for a second. So higher high, this is a low, this is a low here as well. Oh, my mouse just had a little hiccup. There's a low there, that's a low there. If the price came all the way down here and then rallied, that would still be a higher low. Okay, so we've printed a higher high here, which is higher than this one, and that's basically what I'm looking for. And of course, if we print a higher low here and we go up, this level here would be the next level of resistance, which is in between the two areas of balance, and it would also print a higher high here. Okay, so I wouldn't be surprised to then see the price ranging here. Okay, somewhere between $45,000 and $53,000. All right, so that's the long-term outlook that I've got on Bitcoin right now. But I do really want to see this pullback. But I'm happy to be wrong. And of course, if the market decides that we're going to go up and we're not going to give the bulls a chance to enter down low, I'm not fussed. I'm quite happy just to enter here at these levels and still targeting this area. Okay. Of course, the bear case scenario is that we come all the way down here, and then we find that this this imbalance, this low volume area here is now resistance. Okay. And if that is the case, then this would be an entry for a short, and I'll be a little bit more specific here. We've entered a balance area. If we cannot get back above it very quickly, and if we print a daily close below it, this area here for me is an area for a short, and I'll be targeting these prices down here, okay, around about $30,000. That means acceptance, essentially. That means acceptance inside of this balance area. So that's what I'm looking for right now. At this level down here, I'll be really interested in a long, but I will also be cautious and observing the price action very, very closely, just to see if I'm getting myself into a trap or not. So anyway, without the ramblings going on, I'm just going to go on straight to Exocharts. Let's just have a look at what we got here. You can see that below us we've got a couple of low volume areas here. Okay, so in context, if we do it like this, you can see this is a low volume area, this is a low volume area. The whole thing together could be a low volume area, but we've started printing a little bit of, because we had a little bit of a consolidation in the middle there, between 41,000 and 42,000. There's a little range there going on. But I do think that if the price comes down from where it is right now, I think we need to test the edge of this balance area, which is basically what I was telling you as well. Okay, it's just the edge of a big volume cluster. These tend to have a high probability, so I tend to pay attention to those. Additionally, on top of all of that and everything that I've already shown you on the candlestick charts, we've also got around about $40,000, some single prints, okay, where the price rallied so quickly through it that that it just printed one print, one TPO. So there's some single prints here. We've also got a naked point of control here at 41,500, which is basically where this little range formed here with 2 days overlapping here. So there's 2 days profile with the point of control round about the same area, and we haven't tagged it yet. Okay, so this is obviously 41,500. If you were thinking about entering a short, if we go back up here again, and then we're targeting a short, this is definitely a point to take profit. And then finally around about $40,000 to take profit as well. Levels to the upside, we've got very close to this point of control at 46,350. We didn't quite take it. I'm not quite sure why. I think some of these are going to be getting a little bit front run at the moment, but maybe it just wasn't timed. There's just too much pressure to the downside with the CPI and the VWAP and everything else. So maybe that's something for later. But for now, it's just, it's close to the price, so I have to highlight it. 46,360, something like that. There's one naked point of control, and then the closest one below us is at around about 41,500. Below $40,000, then I would be a little bit worried about the price going much lower. But if we do go much lower, then we've also got these targets. We've got 3 naked points of control, starting at around about $38,000, and then all the way down to about $35,000. Okay, so here on the market profile, you can see clearly as well that we had some poor lows here, which I highlighted either on Monday or on Wednesday when we were somewhere up here. Some poor lows. This was a equal lows, I believe. Great. So there's some equal lows there. That was a poor low. No excess on that, so we've taken that now, and then we basically took all of them. There's also some poor lows here, and we've taken that as well. Okay, I do think that we come and test this level here at least, 41,500, which is naked point of control. And like I said, I do expect the 40k to be tapped, 40,200, something like that. There's just too much confluence down there. So anyway, I'll stop rambling on about Bitcoin. I think everybody's clear on that. Yeah, if you got any questions, please ask in the YouTube chat, and I'm happy to answer them. I'll have a quick look here on the session profile just to see if there's any sort of clear indication of where we might be going. We've left a couple of naked points of control above us. There's one here around about $44,000 and another one around about $45,000. So even if we go up, I believe that these levels will be, they'll act as magnets, but it will also be strong resistance. Okay, so at the moment we're being held by this anchored VWAP. You can see that the VWAP was anchored here just after this impulse, the initial impulse out of the range. There was a range formed here, and then we had an impulse, so I put the VWAP there, and you can see that the price has been respecting that very, very nicely. You can see that there, a few deviations, but respected. Even on that CPI dump, we respected again. We did get below it sometime last night or this morning, and now we got above it again, and it's still being respected. Okay, there is a possibility that we come and test these levels yet, but again, I wouldn't be too excited. I'm really just looking for again on the 1 hour chart here, I'm just looking for this range now. Okay, so this is basically where I want to, if I would be trading, that's what I would be trading here. Okay, the other thing I noticed here from Exocharts, actually I forgot to mention, this is a very wide initial balance. Okay, the first hour of balance in the markets today from the open is very, very wide, and usually this means that we'll be ranging. So this is an indicator for me that we just kind of range here now. Okay, I could be wrong, of course, but I do expect the price to just be ranging. You know, and here you can even add a little bit more confluence. You can put, for example, a fixed range volume profile. I'd do it from here, I guess, from the beginning of the impulse to this range. I could even go a little bit further back, I suppose. In fact, what I'll do, look, I'm going to incorporate the previous range as well. Okay, so I'm going to take the balance areas off so it's a little bit clearer. And you can see the equilibrium, the middle of the range, if you like, it's got the point of control very close to it as well. So this is resistance. All right, if we do get above it, if we somehow manage to get above this, then I think it's a strong indication that we go to the top here and try this. But again, we've got a low volume node here and a low volume node here. So around about 44,500 and about 45,000. And I think that it'll probably be a case of like testing these levels and then just dumping again. All right, so I'm happy to be proven wrong, but that's the range I'm looking for. So value area low is also, this is the range high, this is the range low, and you can use the volume profile here to give you a little bit a better view, if you like, of the range in play. Okay, so of course then you've got another little range down here, and if we lose that, then I think we come and test that 40k level down here, which is the beginning of another balance area. So I think I've gone on about Bitcoin for long enough. I've been trading, I've been showing and charting this on Coinbase. I don't want to be going on to all the different charts. It's very much the same thing. Okay, the only thing that I saw on Bitfinex that was a little bit more bullish, and perhaps an indication that we've seen the worst of it, is that on Bitfinex, which is traditionally being traded by whales, the point of control was way down here. And when we had that dump from the 9th of November, since we've been in this downtrend, we've come all the way back down and tested this point of control, and then we rallied. Okay, so yes, we're being rejected at this balance area here, right, on this big high volume cluster here. But as long as we get rejected from this one here, which is the beginning, or the range high, if you like, the volume edge, if you like, of this cluster here, then which I've highlighted here, as long as we bounce here, basically, I do think that we've got a strong chance to get acceptance in this one here. So we'll just have to wait and see. It's very much the same scenario all around. So that's it for Ethereum. I hope that is clear for everybody. For Bitcoin, I mean, let's have a look at Ethereum now. And Ethereum here on the daily, we've entered this balance area. We've come back and tested the lows. And curiously enough, we bounced there. So if I adjust this slightly, if I was to adjust this slightly like this, you can see that's exactly where we bounced. You see that little green wick there? That's exactly where we bounced, all right? So that's the edge, again, of a high volume cluster, okay? I'll put this back to where it was, to that low volume node there. But yes, we got inside the balance area, and we've kind of been rejected from this low volume area. So for me, this is bullish, and I do think that Ethereum's got a very strong chance to go and test $3,600. If it does so, I said this last week, if it does so and it comes all the way up here, it will find resistance there, no doubt. It hasn't tested that since we've broke down from it. So 3,600, 3,700 is a very strong level of resistance, but nonetheless, it's higher than the previous high there. So we would be printing a higher high, all right? So if we print a higher high here, even if we start ranging inside it, even if we come all the way down here, okay, even if we came all the way down here, that would still be printing a higher low on the higher time frames, and that's bullish. Okay, so Ethereum is looking in good shape compared to Bitcoin, and I think I was looking at the prices yesterday when all chaos erupted, and I was looking that Ethereum actually did a lot better than Bitcoin on that dump, so, and recovered a lot quicker too. So Ethereum looking strong, and this will probably be represented here on Ethereum BTC chart. But yeah, so again, we don't see any indication of this. It's not printed a higher high yet, okay? So this is the high there. We haven't printed a higher high just yet. And when we do, I think I'll be looking for shorts up here. But at the moment, it does look like we've bounced from this low volume area down here, and we're on our way to that side there, okay? So when we enter a balance area, it tends to be that we firm up balance by testing both sides. So that's what I'm looking on Ethereum right now. Let's have a look at Exocharts and see if I can find any more confluence here on Ethereum. Again, very wide balance, initial balance. So I think we just range here. Interestingly, we've left a point of control at $3,200. So we could be testing that naked point of control there. If we cannot break above this, then we can, even if we go all the way up here, then we could roll over and come down. However, there is a naked point of control here, a very old one, at around about $3,400. We didn't even get to that, so I don't know. We're also just below this anchored VWAP, which is I think from the highs there, from that swing high. The price has been respecting that, and this is the first time that we've tested. We deviated above it, but we're still kind of being held down by it at the moment. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But in terms of market profile, we've got quite a few interesting profiles here with the points of control like rising and leading price. We've left some significant single prints at round about $2,700, $2,750. So, and there's also a low volume node there. So if Bitcoin does dump all the way down to 40,000, like I was thinking, it is quite possible that we come and test these levels down here, okay? But $2,700, $2,800 is quite low, okay? So 2,950, you can see there's a low volume node there, and like I explained here, is the edge of this balance, okay? So same thing with Bitcoin, okay? We could definitely see this come all the way down here, and as long as we bounce there, that's okay, right? And look at that, that's 2,780 something, okay? So that's the edge of the previous balance. So that kind of adds up with this narrative here, 2,750. So it all kind of lines up here with a single print acting as support, okay? And it really needs to act as support, otherwise we've got so many anomalies down below that we could actually come and test all of these down here. But I don't see Ethereum doing that right now. I do think that if Bitcoin does go to 40k, then it's quite possible that we break the $3,000 level. Do not get obsessed with that one, and we come and test the edge of the other balance area, which add confluence with this with these single prints. So that's what I'm seeing on Ethereum. Let's have a look at Ethereum BTC. Still very much on the point of control here. We're still within this wider range. You can see I've put a rectangle here. Okay, I've put a rectangle, a blue rectangle, to indicate the range. That's basically this range here, and I'm looking at this high volume cluster here, okay, with a point of control exactly where we are right now. Alright, so if I was to delete that like that, we're basically just ranging inside it. We've tested the lows. As soon as we entered it, we came and tested the top, we got rejected, come and tested the lows. Now we've tested the point of control, and here we are. It acts like a magnet. So it's very difficult to tell where the price is going to go now, because at point of control is a no trade zone. It's also the middle of the range. So I'm not interested in Ethereum BTC at these prices, but I do think that Ethereum is looking a little bit strong, as you can see here, even though it's a lower high. And I do think that Ethereum's got a very good chance of coming to test these highs here. Okay, and again, like I said, I've been saying this all week. If we come all the way up here and we start hovering at that resistance, it's quite likely that we break it to the upside, and the next level of resistance will be here, as we've seen below here, before here, and that's around about 88,000 sats. So 80,000 sats for the first resistance, 90,000 sats or 88,000 for the next level of resistance. Okay, it's also possible that we do a little deviation to the upside and come back inside the range. If we come back inside the range, then I'll be looking at this getting rejected here and targeting these levels down here. We're taking profit in the middle, which will be where the point of control is. I hope that helps, right? So this is the point of control. Let me just, in fact, let me just take these off here. Just to make it a little bit clearer. Okay. It's very clear now, as you can see. Low volume node here. Very clear range of high volume cluster there. So it is quite possible that we just kind of like rotate here. Alright. So at the moment, I'm more inclined to say that we're going to go to the upside, considering we had that surprise dump yesterday, which wasn't really a surprise, but anyway, we kind of like just dumped and then rallied and then dumped again. And yet the price just stayed sideways on Ethereum versus BTC. So I think we've got a very good chance of coming to test the highs here. Of course, I could be wrong, and if we test the lows, then it's the lows that we come to first, right? And I'll be looking again for a deviation to the downside, which is exactly what happened here. And what happens at deviations, even though we were kind of range bound here, right? What happens at deviations is that we go straight to the other side, all right? As soon as we enter that balance area again, we test both sides of it. So just keep that in mind. But that's what I'm seeing here for Ethereum BTC. Okay, so that's Ethereum. Let's have a look at FODL versus USDT. This is FODL USDT on OkeX. And we kind of stalled just below resistance here. But you can see that there's a strong buying or strong bidding on OkeX, making the price to go up. Okay, and you can see here as well levels of accumulation with the volume candles that you can see, and you know, every time it dips, people buy. It dips, people buy. Okay, it dips, people are buying again, right? And the volume is increasing too. So this is a good sign. I think you can see that clearly, but I'm going to highlight it anyway. Price increasing, volume increasing. That's usually a good sign, right? So just keep that in mind. So that's FODL versus USD looking bullish at around about 21 cents. FODL versus USDC, and this is on sushiswap, I believe. Again, FODL versus USD, we kind of rallied through this low volume area very, very quickly. We got above that point of control there. I'm going to upgrade these levels. There we are. Okay, so we're getting rejected now at this next level of resistance, which are the red lines here, which is a high volume node in context, and there's also an anchored VWAP from the previous swing high. Yeah, so this was the previous swing high actually. and that's where we first found resistance. But we broke above that one, so I'm going to go to the next one back, right? And that's where we found resistance now. And then once we break above that, then I'll be looking at the next one, which will be where these lines of resistance are as well. And you can see that these lines of resistance are just all based on this volume profile here. I'm looking at the jagged edges of the low volume nodes for resistance and support. Okay, so levels of resistance are on the screen. Nothing's changed much on the daily chart here on FODL versus USD. The only thing that has changed is that there is in fact increasing volume on the price going up. So there's increasing I'm not surprised with everything that FODL is doing behind the scenes and all the things that are coming for FODL. I'm not surprised to see the price recovering here. So again, like I said to you guys on Wednesday, ideally what I want to see now is I want to see the price of FODL break back above these levels of resistance here, break back inside of this range. Okay, as soon as we're back inside this range, we can see you ranging here for quite some time. This was very strong support here, and I think it will be very easy for the price to break above here and get to the next level of support, which would have been all the way up here, and then it's close to all-time highs again. So I think the initial thing is seeing FODL above 30 cents again. Okay, if we can break, this is larger liquid moves, so these will be very quick to fill to the upside. Okay, so as you can see, low volume nodes as well, so the price will travel very quickly. But if we find ourselves above 30 cents and we can confirm this as support, we're now range bound. We'll be ranging here until we break to either side. And if we break to the upside, you can see because of this low volume here, I think it'll be very quick to get back to this level here. So that's my analysis on the long term for FODL. And I know that there's lots of things coming for FODL, so you should all be very excited anyway. And very happy that you're here so early. So anyway, FODL versus ETH. Again, the same scenario. You can see there's a very strong range there. We consolidated there from for a good 2 months, 3 months, something like that. So what I want to see here, we've rallied to the upside here. We've got a low volume node that's it's giving us a little bit of jib here, a bit of resistance. But if we can break above this, look how close we are. Okay, we've also got a point of control there, right? So this is the point of control for the whole range. So if we can break above this here, right, I think there's a very strong chance that we come and test this resistance, and then we'll either range on the upper side here and this point of control will act as support, or even if we come down here, then this low volume node that I've highlighted here should act as support, and we should be ranging a little bit wider like that, and perhaps with a few deviations to the downside, deviations to the upside, but I think we'll be ranging there. And again, to break this low volume area here, right, it'll be very quick. It'll be resistance without doubt, okay, like just as it was here, right? But once we break that, it'll be very quick and swift. Once we do that, you can see that there's a very high balance area here, very high volume cluster. If we can get above this level here, then it's very likely that once we enter this balance, we'll do something like this. We come and test this as support, and then here, my friends, it's almost guaranteed. Nothing is absolute in trading, but it's almost guaranteed that we come and test the other side of the balance. That's how balance areas work, right? So that's all I'm going to say on that, but it will be very likely that we see the price of FODL all the way up here. Okay, I'm not even going to attempt to name this denomination here in way, but that's where we are on the chart, right? So that's what I'm seeing for FODL. Very, very bullish. Of course, we are just at resistance, so of course we could see a little pullback. If we do see a little pullback, in fact, I'm going to put some lines there just to give you a little bit of guidance. If we see some support there, I also see support there, and perhaps even here. Okay, which is again, I'm highlighting these low volume nodes here. All right, so that's where I put these lines, and you can see that they've acted previously as resistance. Okay, and then once we break above it, they should be tested as support. So I wouldn't be surprised to see there we are. I wouldn't be surprised to see the price now coming to test these areas. Perhaps even if it goes all the way down here, I don't think we're going to go to all-time lows. Okay, I think this was a deviation, and I said to you guys a couple of weeks ago or 3 weeks ago or whatever, I was like, this could be a really good opportunity when there's maximum risk, and with the all-time lows, this is where you should be buying. And if you did buy, well done. You know, on Ethereum, on the FODL versus Ethereum, you can see the levels of spike here, green levels of accumulation here when we were ranging. We're seeing a little bit of an increase in volume here, a nice little spike in volume, but we need to see more volume, okay, and hopefully on the increase. That would be very, very bullish, and it would be again signs of continuation for FODL. So that's all I'm going to say on FODL. AAVE versus USD, this is a complete mess. I do apologize, I've left the drawings on from Wednesday, so not much has changed. As you can see, we're still hovering here at resistance. Let me just delete all this crap. Okay, maybe not all of it, so maybe just this. Okay, so we've got some resistance, which is basically these low volume nodes here. Okay, there's also a high volume cluster here, a high volume node that's acting as resistance right now. The next levels of support are $160, $190 and $200. So I've got 205 highlighted here because it's a low volume node, right? And also this low volume area with the rectangle between 220 and 260. These are the levels of resistance. $200 is obviously a big round number, so it's not surprising that 200 is a strong resistance right now. And the levels of support, again, not rocket science. I'm looking at these low volume nodes here, and you can see that the price respects these, okay? So I'm looking at these levels of support: $136, $160, and $99, or let's say $100 just to be on the round side. And we've got very strong resistance just above us here, okay? So I don't think AAVE has got enough impetus and enough momentum to break above this, but if it does, we've also got very strong resistance here with this point of control. But then if we do break above it, then it remains to be seen if we can confirm this area here as support. And if it does so, then I do think that we go and test these areas, these next levels of resistance, okay? So we'll have to wait and see. But again, this is key here. Very strong resistance between $220 and $250. And that's what I'm looking for right now. So that was AAVE versus USD. AAVE versus BTC. We're very much in the same area that we were on Wednesday. And there's not really much to be said on that. And I think it's going to be the same with all the coins. Right now, all these altcoins will just kind of, especially versus BTC and versus ETH, will just be being pushed around by Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the barometer, is the daddy of all crypto, and so all of these coins, if Bitcoin goes up, they go up. If Bitcoin goes down, they go down. And a lot of the time, versus US dollar, of course, a lot of the time these charts here, the AAVE versus BTC, AAVE versus ETH, it just kind of goes sideways if they're both rallying. Okay, so we want to see now if indeed I was right and Bitcoin is now in a range for the whole weekend. There's a strong chance that most of these coins will rally a little bit, okay, because Bitcoin had an impulse up and now it's ranging. And if it does an impulse up and goes ranging, then all of these altcoins will start rallying as well, okay? So here you can see we've got some levels of resistance around about 5,750 sats. We're currently around about 4,000 sats, and levels of support at around about 3,200 sats and 2,750 sats. Okay, higher volume cluster within and a bigger higher volume cluster. Okay, if everything goes wrong for AAVE versus BTC, then of course these are the levels of support down here. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're probably just going to range, and if anything, we're going to rally a little bit. Okay, it could rally, especially if Bitcoin just goes sideways now. If Bitcoin has a dump to 41k, then I do expect these coins to follow suit. Right? You know, it's just the way it is. And if they do so, although this one behaved quite well, if we do so, then I expect this to just be going sideways. All right, it's as simple as that. AAVE versus ETH, very much the same thing. We're still very much within the same place that we were on Wednesday. This is still resistance until proven otherwise here at on this red line here, and these are the levels of support below us. Okay, so we either range here or we come below it, or we break above it, and if we break above it, we go and test this order block and anchored VWAP above us. Okay, so at the moment there's no real sign of where we're going here, but like I said, if Bitcoin, because we just had an impulse on Bitcoin, if Bitcoin just goes sideways now over the weekend, I wouldn't be surprised to see this rally and go and try at the highs again. Okay, we'll just have to wait and see. There's also, this is a break in market structure. We printed a high here. Break in market structure, there's a strong possibility that even if we rally here, we find resistance, and then we go a little bit lower and test this level of resistance now as support. Okay, so we'll just have to wait and see. But right now there's no indication of trend direction here. Okay, we'll just have to wait and see what Bitcoin does. Just have to hopefully Bitcoin will just have to kind of start ranging now. Compound versus USD. Yeah, we just bounced at support here. This level is still resistance. I expect this to be doing the same thing. We just range here, okay, until Bitcoin decides what it's going to do. And if Bitcoin can't decide what it's going to do and it just goes sideways, then we could see trending. All right. So just bear that in mind. If you guys are still on betting on majors outperforming the smaller caps, then just be careful. This could be the turning point, because obviously Bitcoin just had an impulse and it could be ranging. Of course, if Bitcoin goes down, it ruins and spoils the party for everyone. But again, these are the levels of support that you should be looking for. This is the level of resistance. So level of support $129 and then $100 as well. Levels of resistance $150 and $168. Compound versus BTC. Very much the same thing that we were doing on Wednesday. We did have a little bit of a pullback down. We're basically at all-time lows. We kind of broke that all-time low again, not by much, by a little bit here. I think we bounced at around about 300 sats. Yeah, 302 sats. So again, these big round numbers, when at all-time low price discovery, you just look at the big round numbers for confluence, okay? So 300 to 250 to 200 and so on, okay? If, of course, these start rallying now versus Bitcoin and versus Ethereum, then I do expect these levels to act as resistance until proven otherwise. They were previous support, so it's only natural that now they've flipped to resistance. So just keep that in mind, okay? Compound versus ETH, very much the same thing. I think we are at all-time lows, and again, we haven't got any levels of support. We're in price discovery mode, okay? So there's no support, but what we could look for is big round numbers. Levels of resistance are all on the screen, and you can pause the video and just have a look at that, okay? Nice big area, a little potential range here. If we break above this and we print a higher high, if we print a higher high, then ideally we'd be ranging inside of here, but we'll just have to wait and see. That was compound versus ETH. BAT versus USD. This is basic attention token. We tried to break above this balance area here. This is again based on a volume profile, and you can see that this is a low volume node that I've highlighted with the green lights, with the green lines, sorry. There's a balance area here inside. You can see that it's a little bit wider, but there is a low volume node, so I put another line there. So this is the inside range, as you can see that we've been ranging there for quite some time. And this is another range that again is split in two because it's a weird distribution where it's got like a little valley there and two peaks. So these are the levels of support that I'm looking for. These are the levels of resistance that I'm looking for. Right now, we've kind of broken back inside of this range here, but we're still trying to get rejected from there, okay? If we get accepted inside this range, then I think this is a short. If we cannot get back above this level here, right, then I think this is a short, and we come and test this level here and this level down here. If, however, we break back above it and we get confirmation there, and this now acts as support, then we've got a very strong chance to come here to around about $1.40, okay? This is not surprising that we're having such an inflection point here. We're very close to the dollar. It's 92 cents here. Sorry, 88 cents right now, but we got all the way to 98 cents here. So yeah, it is exactly the same thing as what we're seeing on Bitcoin and Ethereum. We want to see acceptance inside of the balance area. If we see acceptance, then it's a very strong chance that we come and test the other side and then start ranging, okay? If we cannot find acceptance, then obviously that's a rejection. This looks like a strong rejection, but it does look like the price still wants to rally up. Lose this level, come below here, I would be definitely targeting, even if we come all the way up here again, I'll be targeting these levels down here, all right, as this will be resistance. That's all I'm going to say on BAT versus USD. BAT versus BTC, I expect it's just going to be sideways price action. It's actually looking a little bit weaker compared to Bitcoin. But yeah, we're still at the low of the range here, so we could just be going sideways like that, and then we go sideways until we break to either side. If we break to the upside, this will be the range that you'll be looking for, so somewhere between here and here. And if we break to the downside, then somewhere between here and here. Okay, big balance area here as well. So yeah, that's what we're seeing here on BAT versus BTC. There's not really much to be said there. In terms of direction, it does look like it wants to reach lower, right? But again, we're right at support, so I don't like shorting at support. Okay, for me, I'd much rather see this break to the downside and then retest the top. And if it retests it and finds resistance, then I'm quite happy to enter, even if it's a little bit lower. So let's play it out. It comes down here and then starts rolling over and finds it as resistance. Well, this was the perfect entry, but of course we might not have seen it or whatever. So I'm quite happy to enter here and be targeting this level down here. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing here on BAT versus BTC. BAT versus ETH, very much the same thing. Again, we're at support. There is a strong consolidation level around about these areas here. So this level now is resistance because we broke below it. Yeah, so we're targeting now with BAT versus ETH, targeting this level of support here, and maybe even these lower levels down here. We'll just have to wait and see what Bitcoin does. Okay, of course, like I said, if Bitcoin just starts going sideways now, there's a strong possibility that we just rally here. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Don't just go shorting everything. Keep an eye on Bitcoin because all these coins follow it. Okay, so Link versus USD. Link versus USD, we managed to get above this low volume node, and we are still retaining that level here. Okay, so again, $17.50, $17.80, still acting as support, this low volume node. We're printing higher highs and higher lows, higher high, higher low. Okay, so again, on the sort of the shorter time frames, you can see that this will be bullish, right? So still to the 4 hour, high, higher low, higher high again, higher low, higher high. We broke market structure here, and we're trying to get to the other side of the balance here. And you can see that this low volume node is just acted as support here, right? Or the edge of that high volume cluster. Right, so again, what we want to see now is obviously either ranging, and what I see happening right now is we come up to here, and then we just either range here, or we do constructive price action, and we carry on going higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, and so on. Okay, we'll just have to wait and see. You can see you have to pay attention to these low volume nodes. These will be the levels of resistance that you want to be looking for. Okay, especially on the higher time frames. So that's Link versus USD. Link versus BTC. Yeah, Link looking weak here versus BTC. We did break below that point of control. That point of control now is resistance, and it will be strong resistance as well. In fact, I think this we'd already broken down before on Wednesday because it's already highlighted as red. So this is a level of resistance. It's also the point of control. So this will be very strong resistance. Break above that, and I think we've got a very strong chance to go above. But if we cannot break above it, then obviously that's time to short that, and looking at these levels here as the next levels of support. Okay, low volume node, low volume node, low volume node. That's where all these lines are, and that's what that's what I tend to look at. Okay, so that was Link versus BTC. Link versus ETH, very much the same thing. I'm going to delete all those scribbles yet again. I am sorry about that. Link versus ETH is looking a little bit more interesting here, although we did break below this level of support, which is now resistance. And note how once we broke below it, even though we tried to take it again, we could not. There's a couple of wicks printed there, and we just kind of like got rejected there. Let's have a look on the 4-hour chart. Right, once we broke below it, resistance, resistance, try to break above it, resistance, resistance again, and now we're going lower. Okay, so I think this is the next logical level, and perhaps this one here as well, and this carries on being resistance, as is the edge of a high volume cluster. So that was Link versus ETH. Finally, let's have a look at Uni. I hear you, Cohiba. Want me to take a look at Woo? Okay. I have no idea what Woo is, but I'll have a look at the chart and see what it says. Sorry, this is just a comment from the YouTube section. Cohiba said, take a look at Woo. That's WOO. Very nice fundamental coin. So I'll have a look at that in just a second. Let me just finish off here with Uni USD. And you can see that the price rallied from this low volume node here. We found resistance again on a low volume node here, and now we're just kind of rotating inside of this. Okay, so for more constructive price action, we'd want to see here print a higher high and a higher low, and so on, and doing this kind of thing, you know. So it goes to the next level, and levels of resistance turn to support, etc. But again, we will only see this if Bitcoin just goes sideways and doesn't dump down to 40k. Okay, if Bitcoin starts going to 40k, then I expect these to come down as well. But I do expect these levels to hold as support, right? So just bear that in mind. Okay, so again, $10 is a big round number, so $10 should hold. If not, there's $9.60 and then $8 and also $4.89 or $5 if you like. So that's Uni versus USD. But again, all these coins have taken a severe battering. If Bitcoin is just going sideways and these coins decide to go on a rally, the most significant of all of these levels of resistance is this one here, and that's because it's the point of control of the whole range. Okay, so that's around about $19, which is very close to the $20 mark, right? So this will be very strong resistance, and you can see here we had a range formed as well. So even if we manage to find acceptance here and we range here, that will be the very significant level of resistance that I'll be looking for. Okay, so that's what we're seeing on Uni versus USD. Of course, if we break to the downside, I've already given you some targets there. Uni versus BTC. Interesting. I don't know why I've left that scribble to the downside, but obviously it was looking a little bit bearish. So let me just take that off a second. Just analyze this again. Okay, so I've put a green rectangle here, which is basically the edges of this high volume cluster. So one volume cluster there, one volume cluster there as well. Okay, and you can see that this was previous consolidation there. Not much in the way of consolidation here to print this. That's why it's a bit jagged and weird. But regardless of that, that low volume node there. Let me just put the whole price action there. You can see that this is a low volume node. That's why it's a rectangle, red rectangle inside. It's acted as resistance, and it will be resistance until proven otherwise. All right. So again, we've entered this balance. So I do expect the price to come and test both sides of this balance, and I expect the next price to be here. And that's perhaps why I had that scribble there. Sometimes I have to play out these scenarios in my mind because there's no script. I'm just improvising, and I'm just looking and telling you how it is from what I know about charts. So there's no script here. I haven't been studying this. I'm just looking at the dynamics of market. So again, this is a low volume node down here. I expect this to cause support, and we could just rally. We could just kind of range inside of this. Okay, if we break to the downside, if we do something like this and then come up, and this low volume node now acts as resistance, same thing again. That's an entry for a short, and we go all the way down here. At the moment, I'm not seeing any of that price action. All I'm seeing here right now is that we are kind of halfway through the balance area here. Okay, of course, it's, you know, there's nothing saying that we can't just come and test these levels up here, especially if Bitcoin decides to go sideways. But at the moment, I'm not seeing it. All I'm seeing is this level down here as a level of interest. So if Bitcoin goes down to 40k, this is the level that you should be looking for, around about 2,200 sats. If Bitcoin just goes sideways and all these altcoins start rallying, then this is the next level of resistance that you should be looking for. Okay, if it's not up or down and it's just sideways price action, then expect this to just be ranging here between this level of support and this level of resistance. It's as simple as that. Okay. Oh, look at that! I did the M of the fucking McDonald's again. You couldn't make this shit up. Anyway, Uni versus ETH. Uni versus ETH looks terrible, to be fair, and it needs like a little bit of a miracle. We've got the last level of support here, the last line, if you like, of support down here, and it's a low volume node. So we could see further downside here on Uni versus ETH, especially if ETH decides to go on a mission and rally as Bitcoin goes sideways. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some of these altcoins rally, but it really depends on what ETH is doing. Very strong resistance, and of course we've got a high volume cluster above this level here, as you can see here, right? High volume cluster, at least to that edge there, right? So, and again, there's a point of control there. So in a very bullish case scenario, I'll be looking at these levels here, right? So rally up to here like this and do bullish price action, constructive price action. Of course, I'm not seeing any of that right now, but again, like FODL, this is at all-time lows, right? So this could be a great opportunity to buy Uni versus ETH. It's definitely at support, and you shouldn't buy things at resistance. You should buy them at support. So do with that information what you will. So anyway, let's have a look at Woo. Woo, I have no idea where I find this. It'll probably be on Binance, the shitcoin casino. Let's have a look at Binance. Woo. No, just Woo. Woo board, Woo versus Bitcoin. Binance. I'll have a look at Woo versus BUSD, and then Woo versus Bitcoin. What the fuck is this, man? What is this? It's a brand new coin. Right, let's have a look at the 1 hour chart. Well, what can I say? It's lower highs, lower lows. It does look like it's kind of forming a little bit of a constructive price action here on the hourly, but there's not enough data here to look at. I don't even know if there's any older charts in existence for this, but this looks like a listing, right, with the price rallied and then just came all the way back down. But again, we want to be, this coin wants to be back inside this range, essentially, right? So it does look like it's on its way. So you basically want to see Woo back above 69 cents, right? So we've got strong resistance. We've got an hourly order block there. You can see that there's a little bit of interest here with buying, but it's decreasing volume. But the price does seem to be doing like higher highs and higher lows here. So it is possible that this comes all the way back here. If it comes back inside of that, then this is a big balance area here. And there is a strong possibility that we come and test. I don't know what my mouse is doing. My mouse is playing weird tricks here. So again, if we get acceptance inside of this balance area here, I'm looking at this this volume cluster. There's a strong possibility that we can test both sides of the value of the volume, and we come all the way to 79 cents. Okay, but there's a lot of resistance above, namely this order block here, right, and then the entry to this balance area. So let me do this in lines. That'll be a lot easier. So level of support. So let's do resistance first. Then resistance there. Resistance there, and let's say resistance there and there. Okay, all I'm doing is, if you look here on the volume profile, you can see what I'm doing. I'm putting on the edges of these low volume nodes, right? So in fact, you can argue that this one's there, okay, which just has confluence with this balance that I just kind of did there. All right, so this is a range here inside of here. So basically what you want to see, if you're bullish on this is perhaps a great opportunity to buy. If indeed this is a very good coin, you buy, and you want to see the price ranging inside of this balance here. All right, so for now there's plenty of resistance above, okay, especially around here, but this is very close to all-time low. So levels of support, very thin support here and thin support here, which is previous levels of resistance that have now turned to support. Okay, so two levels of support, and of course there's this one down here which is around about 63 cents. Okay, failing that, and if we go lower, then you'll be looking at big round numbers like 60 cents and so on. It's not listed yet on Binance. Look at KuCoin. Oh shit, well it does look like it's listed on Binance. But let's have a look at KuCoin. Whoa. Let's have a look at KuCoin. Fucking KuCoin. That's an exchange I haven't heard about. I haven't heard in years. Bitfinex, CoinEx, Huobi, Bybit, Binance, KuCoin. There it is. Woo Network versus Tether. Aha. That's better, isn't it? Fuck's sake. Right. Okay, so that's a little bit. There's a little bit more context. Very strong buy there. Very strong. Okay. Very quickly. All I do usually, I just put these levels here, right? So we've got a low volume node here that's going to act as resistance for now. Okay. We did strike above here. We couldn't get to the point of control. So these are the levels of resistance that I'm looking for here. In fact, I'm not going to do it like this. I'm going to do it with these. This is resistance. Resistance. This is support. I'm going to put that as green. And of course, if we break above this, then this red line here, I'll make this as orange, okay? Because it's nearby. If we break above this one, then this should be holding as support, which is that low volume node there. Right now we're at 66 cents, so we want to see the price break above this. All right. So again, another level of resistance that actually missed is this point of control here. I'm going to put that as red, and the next one will be this low volume node here, and maybe even that one there. All right. So again, I hope you saw how I did that. I just went here on the TradingView. You go on the panel on the last one here where the long position and short position are, put fixed range volume profile, which is the last one, and then I just draw it from the beginning to the end like that, sideways, and it gives you that. All right. So I hope that was satisfactory to you. Thanks for giving me the hint on KuCoin. That helps. Mike, can you chart POLYDOGE? POLYDOGE. Fuck me. I remember Polygon, I remember Polymath and Doge, but POLYDOGE, this must be like a hybrid dog or something. POLYDOGE, let's have a look at that. POLYDOGE versus Tether on OkeX or POLYX. I'm going to go with POLYX. Polo. Holy shit, no, maybe not. Let's have a look at OkeX. Oh crap, it's the same thing. Okay, I'll have a look at this, but I mean, these are just algorithms, my man. This, what you see here, it's algorithm trading. There's nothing you can do with this. It's very difficult. In fact, you know, yes, you can do something with it. It's basically just forget about it. I'm not, you know, this is not a trading coin. This is basically a long-term investment if you believe in it fundamentally. It's the mascot of Matic, sort of. Okay, well, it's a fairly new coin. It's only come up around at Christmas last year. And you can see here, this is the low, 0.00002. The middle range is 3. The top of the range is 4, okay? This, I remember seeing a few of these coins in 2017 when they're being traded by bots like this. And basically they just, as soon as you put in an order here, it goes to the top. As soon as you try and sell, you get filled straight away. You just can't trade it. It's a bit of a non-trading coin, if you like. Okay, you can see here a big spike in volume here. The price rallied. Look at that, nice big spike in volume, right? You can see here down here, right? Nice big spikes in volume. What does the price do? It comes down again, and then just kind of ticks between 3 and 4, right? Again, the increasing volume here, price just ticking. It's not tradable, man. If you want to invest in this, go ahead. If you believe in the fundamental value of it, but this is not something I'd want to trade. Not in my opinion. Okay, unless there's some bot edge on this, but I'm not. I'm a discretionary trader. I don't really know how to code bots. So I'm gonna have another look for you, but this will be the last one, Mike. POLYDOGE, and see if I can find another exchange. Now I've only got OkeX and POLYDOGE, so I can't chat that on. I don't know about the other platforms and stuff. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for the requests. I like having the participation of the public, and I like you guys asking me things. That's great. I'm sorry I couldn't be much help with this one with POLYDOGE, and I apologize for not knowing much about Woo Network or whatever it's called. But here we are. I hope it was useful to you guys. Go back to the beginning of the video. POLYDOGE has almost no liquidity yet. Yeah, it is what it is. I hope it was useful to you guys. I don't recommend you trade this. If you're an investor, it's a different story. But and you'll be buying at the bottom. But yeah, I hope this was useful. Just remember, max pain for the end of the contracts for the options contracts is around about $40,000. It has plenty of confluence at those levels. So for now, just trade smart. Just stay within that range. Like I said, just trade the range until it breaks. If it breaks to the downside, now you've got targets. If it breaks to the upside, you've also got targets there. So I hope it was useful. I hope you guys have a nice weekend, and I will speak to you soon. Take care and trade smart.